When a youth who has all the desires at his fingertips stands up in the night to turn around to Allah, even for a few seconds just to remember Allah, Allah turns around to the angels, and the tradition of the Prophet says, Inna Allah yubahi bishab al-abid al-malaika, that Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala turns around to the angels and begins to boast to them about this believing youth of his. He says, Unduru ila abdi, have a look at my servant. Taraka shahwatahu min ajli. He's gone and left his base desires for my sake. How sweet is sleep for a youth. Many a people, when they reach 60, 70, 80, they find it hard to sleep. How easy it is for the youth to sleep at night. Yet he left his base desires in order to turn around to you and me, in order to turn around to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah begins to take pride in this shab, in this youth. This youth, according to the Prophet, is able to learn and grasp so much more better than an adult. To the extent that the sixth Imam says that when you teach a youth something, it's like hammering it into wood, into stone. It's like engraving into stone. It will never come out. On the opposite, the same Imam in the same hadith says, but when you teach an adult something, it's like writing on water. You write the first line, it gets wiped out by the next wave that comes in. That's why the youth has such a great station in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's why the Prophet says, take advantage of your youth before you become an adult. I wish to share it's not a tradition, it's not a hadith, but it's a saying. It's as if there's a conversation between Allah and a youth. It's so beautiful. Those of you who are youth, remember this with every possible inch of memory, that iota of memory that you have, because it'll remind you that you can always turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at any time. Whatever you and I have done, Allah's doors remain open for you and me as a youth. The conversation begins like this. أن الشاب إذا بكى من ذنوبه وأعترف بعيوبه عند سيده ومحبوبه. That this shab, this youth, when he turns round to Allah and begins to cry for his sins, and begins to confess to each and every one of his sins عند سيده ومحبوبه, in front of his master and his beloved Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he calls out to Allah and he says, قال إلهي أنا أسأت. Oh my Lord. No one else is listening in the middle of the night. He turns around to Allah and says, oh my Lord, I'm the one who made a mistake. Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala replies, فيقول الله تعالى وأنا سترت. Allah replies back and says, I'm the one who covered that sin. You committed that sin in public. Have you forgotten that nobody knows about that sin except for you and me? I covered that sin for you. فَيَقُولْ إِلَهِي وَأَنَا نَدَمْتُ. And he says to Allah, oh my Lord, I feel regretful for the sin that I've done. فَيَقُولُ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى أَنَا عَلِمْتُ. And Allah says, I know that you're regretful for the sin that you've committed. فَيَقُولْ إِلَهِي رَجَعْتُ. Oh Allah, I've returned back to you. فَيَقُولُ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى قَبِلْتُ. I've accepted you back to me. Then Allah continues in this conversation. He says, أَيُّهَا الشَّابِ. O youth, إِذَا تُبْتَ ثُمَّ نَقَضْتَ فَلَا تَسْتَحْيِي أَن تَرْجَعْ إِلَيْنَا ثَانِيًا. O youth, if you commit a sin, if you ask for forgiveness, and then you fall short again and transgress my boundaries, please let it not be that you feel ashamed to come back to me a second time. وَإِذَا نَقَضْتَ ثَانِيًا فَلَا يَمْنَعُكَ الْحَيَاءُ أَن تَأْتِينَا ثَالِثًا. And if you commit a sin for a third time, then if for a second time, then let it not be a barrier between you and me to return back to me a third time. Even the third time, I'll accept you back. وَإِذَا نَقَضْتَ ثَالِثًا فَارْجَعْ إِلَيْنَا رَابِعًا. And if you fall short a third time, return back to me a fourth time. Why? Allah says, فَأَنَا الْجَوَادَ الَّذِي لَا أَبْخَلُ. Return back to me because I am the generous one who is not stingy. I didn't create forgiveness so that I can keep it to myself. I created forgiveness so that I can give it to you. So return back to me. وَأَنَا الْحَلِيمُ الَّذِي لَا أَعْجَلُ. And I am the one who's forbearing, who will not be hasty to go and punish you. This is the conversation, a paraphrased conversation, as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to a shab, to a young youth. And without a doubt, along the line, something similar does happen. Because Allah does accept a youth very easily, time after time again. When you and I hear of such a merciful Lord, it is no surprise then when you read Dua Kumail on a Thursday night, and you listen to the words of Amirul Mu'mineen, with that eloquence,